From the raw materials of Earth, through the processes of modern science, by the precise workmanship of careful men with skillful hands, comes the precision line of fine automobiles. Ford, Mercury, and Lincoln. Produced by the world's most experienced builder of passenger cars and trucks, Ford Motor Company. This is the Ford Theater.
Oh, is it that late?
Don't you think you've done enough for one day?
Well, it's just really getting interesting.
That's what you always say.
Always is a grim word. You make me sound very dull.
I didn't mean to. It's just that the end of a good day's work should be the most satisfactory time of all.
But who can tell? The end might be only the beginning.
You have no sense of time. You never have had.
I've left that to you.
Sometimes I think 20 years can go past you in a single day. The whole 20 years we've been married.
Most women would take that as a compliment.
No, you don't understand what I mean.
Oh, well. You got me at a bad time. When I'm looking down a microscope, I lose all track of time. The world I see there is endless. Eternity stretched out before me, and all within a fraction of an inch.
Let me look.
Why, of course.
How hideous.
Hideous. I think it's beautiful.
Those little specks frighten me.
Then life must frighten. Those little specks are all alive, crawling, teeming with infinite possibilities of joining and division. Endless multiplicity, endless simplicity. The astronomers have told us how big the universe is. The chemists and biologists teach us how small it is. You should find comfort in that thought.
But in there, everything looks so ugly.
Oh, I guess I can never hope to fascinate you in my work.
It must be my fault.
Don't be silly. There's no fault involved.
Drink your milk and eat your sandwich.
Yes, a starving scientist can't be a very good one.
Then I am of some use to you.
Whatever are you talking about? Where would I be without you?
I wonder.
Where would you be without me?
I must say I've never thought about it.
Guess I never have thought either. Do you remember what you looked like when you were young?
Really, Edward?
I can't remember what I looked like. And as for you,
Please, Edward, I can't see the point.
Well, I don't blame you. I guess I'm beginning to sound excessively middle-aged.
You need a haircut.
Do I?
Get it tomorrow.
You think I should?
Yes. Drink your milk before it gets cold.
Yes, dear.
Father's coming.
When?
Soon. He has to make a business trip to San Francisco, and he's going to stop off here on the way.
Oh, that's fine. It's always good seeing your father.
You really are fond of him, aren't you?
He's a grand old boy.
You and he always have a lot to talk about.
Why not?
Strange that you have so much in common.
Well, he's your father.
He says Mother is very well.
That's fine.
Aren't you coming up to bed?
In a minute, my dear.
It's awfully late.
You go along. I'll be right up.
Please, Edward.
What a wonderful action on the fertilization of a scorpion's ovum. Wouldn't you care to take another piece?
I hate scorpions.
This is only the egg.
No, some other time. Good night.
Yes, dear.
Edward! Edward,
Yes?
it's after 3 o'clock. Please come to bed.
Oh, it's you.
Why must you work half the night? You'll only lose all your sleep and you won't be able to do a thing tomorrow.
I'm sorry, but it's hard to stop when it's going well.
I woke up suddenly. The wind was blowing hard through the curtains. You weren't there.
Don't tell me you were frightened, not you.
You don't think I can be frightened.
Well, this isn't the first time.
No, it isn't.
It doesn't mean anything.
I'm not used to being without you.
I'll be along.
Maybe you'd like to stay downstairs tonight.
Well, I'll disturb you when I come to bed, certainly.
That's not what I meant at all.
Perhaps we should try that. On nights I work late, I can sleep on the couch.
Edward,
Yes?
it's just that I'm so sleepy. Coming out of the dark, the lonely dark, so suddenly.
You go on up. I'll be along right away, I promise.
All right.
My wife, Ruth. She's upstairs now, waiting for me. But a moment ago, she was down here, just as I've always known her. But a long time ago, she was a young girl. And now I've forgotten what she looked like. Forgotten completely. When I met her in the summer, her skin used to remind me of apricots. And I have no picture of her. I think I did have once, and I lost it. And now I can't remember my wife's young face. Up suddenly. I can't tell where I am. This is very strange. Very strange. I can't see him.
You can see me, can't you?
I guess so. I hope so.
It's the fog that makes this fire so hard to draw. Do you think you can help me with it?
Just a minute. I have to get my bearings.
I was hoping you would come. I'm not a very good cook. Can you fry the eggs?
You speak of frying eggs on Olympus?
But this isn't Olympus.
What is it, then?
Oh, you know perfectly well. Oh, I think you're trying to make a joke so you'll get out of having to fix the breakfast. Well, you're right. The girl should take care of these things.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, but I'm glad that you blame the fog instead of me for that bad fire.
I'll get to it in a minute.
Well, take your time. We have all the time there is.
You're sure of that?
Oh, yes. That's one of the things I like about you. You're never in a hurry.
You seem to know me awfully well.
Not as well as I would like. But we have lots of time for that.
Perhaps I'd better see about those eggs.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say so.
You prefer having me do things for you?
Why not?
I thought most girls did it the other way around.
Oh, that'll come later. After we've had a chance to do all sorts of things together. Oh, I hope we have all sorts of adventures.
You believe we will?
Well, of course. Otherwise, we would not have come together in the first place.
I better see about these eggs.
You see? You will make the ideal companion.
Because I can fix eggs?
No, that's only part of it. What would you like to do most?
Eat the eggs?
Besides that.
Oh, be an explorer, maybe. Risk my life on mountains and in strange countries?
Oh, and could I follow you there?
Maybe. But there's a different sort of exploration that I'm really interested in.
And what's that?
I'm a biologist. I do research.
Oh, that's the best kind of exploring there is.
That's very wise of you.
Oh, the people who are alone as much as I am get a chance to think a great deal. Perhaps in your eyes that's wisdom.
You're lonely?
No, I didn't say that. I said I was alone most of the time. The two things are quite different.
But doesn't anyone live here with you?
Yes, my father. But he's away now. He's out in the Mojave prospecting for a mine.
Do you mean to tell me that you're here alone in the middle of nowhere?
Oh, no. I have Toto.
Who?
Toto. You see? Are the eggs done?
Two done, I'm afraid. Burned.
Oh, maybe you do need looking after. Well, never mind. We can always have coffee. I'd let him out, but he rolls so in the dirt.
Rolled?
Toto, he's a sheepdog. It just happens that this is cattle country.
But I don't think you should be here alone. It isn't safe.
No one would harm me. Why should they? Anyhow, Toto wouldn't let them.
Dwelt a miner, 49er, and his daughter, Clementine.
Oh, how strange that you should think of that song. But anyway, I don't wear herring boxes.
I can see that this is what I've missed all along. Why, there must be wonderful places just like this, just waiting to be discovered. Once, I thought I'd like to discover the North Pole. But I was too late. Someone discovered it before me.
Oh, well, people are always discovering things, even when they think it's too late.
Perhaps you're right. Look how long it took me to discover you.
Oh, are you sorry?
No, I'm glad.
So am I. Do you like our wagon?
Oh, yes. It's very nice.
I often wonder, when Father comes back and we're rich, shall I continue to live in the wagon, or shall I move into a house?
Well, that depends, doesn't it?
But when you discover oil, how rich are you?
Is that what your father's looking for? Oil?
Why, yes. We're going to be very rich and live in splendid circumstances. I shall never have to work. I shall always be well taken care of. And I shall have a special garden made and keep the wagon there to remember. Oh, of course, I shall help my husband in intellectual ways.
Of course.
Would you like me to get you some violets?
Not particularly.
Well, I'd like some.
Well, let me get them for you.
No. No, you don't know where they are.
Well, I can find them.
No, I'll go.
Clementine! Clementine! Clementine, where are you? Clementine! Clementine! Clementine, where are you?
Here I am.
You have no violets.
Of course not. I had no intention of getting any.
Well, why did you run away?
I wanted to see if you'd follow me.
I tried.
A woman has to know if a man will miss her or not.
Well, you've won. I did.
Oh, well. One wins the best way one can.
Why must one win anything?
Well, I don't know. I only know that I don't like to lose.
You women are all alike. You none of you want to lose.
Well, that depends on what you want, doesn't it?
Well, what?
I don't think I'll tell you. Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't know. Maybe not ever.
Nobody ever wins anything very much. Medal, a prize, a star named after you, or a disease. But not by cheating. Or exercising obvious feminine wiles.
I wasn't cheated.
Why, you were being awfully feminine.
And is that a crime?
What is it that you want that's so important?
I don't have to answer that.
I won't leave until you do.
I won't answer, I tell you. Now I'll never tell you.
You must.
Never. Never, 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 never.
Clementine! Clementine! Clementine!
Yes? Come down here, won't you? What time is it?
It's just what I told you before. It's just after 3.
Are you sure?
I didn't mean to call you again so soon after I left the room. But you know how you are. And I really didn't want you to stay down here all night.
I never intended to.
You'll come up now, then?
Right away. I'm very tired.
I told you you ought to get a good night's sleep.
Yes. Ruth, dear.
This is the Ford Theater. This is the Ford Motor Company. The Mighty Rouge at Dearborn, world's largest manufacturing plant, and 36 other manufacturing plants in 36 cities across the continent. And 150,000 skilled men and women, all devoted to one thing, building automotive products of the highest quality, the precision line of fine trucks and cars. Ford. Mercury. And Lincoln. Every step of the complex manufacturing process is in accordance with the highest quality standards, with strict attention to every detail, with continual checks and tests to ensure high quality. In smelting the iron, Ford checks for quality. Producing the steel, Ford tests for quality. Making the glass, Ford inspects for quality. Forming the body, Ford checks for quality. Finishing the engine block, Ford inspects for quality. Turning the crankshaft, Ford tests for quality. In the creation of every one of the 10,000 parts that go into a new automobile, right through final assembly, the constant emphasis is on precision workmanship and quality manufacture. The 150,000 men and women at Ford never forget the importance of the quality they are building into their products. They are proud of that quality. Quality that makes Ford products outstanding. At Ford, the production line is a precision line. And the result is quality cars and trucks. Ford trucks. Ford, Mercury, and Lincoln automobiles, the precision line of fine cars. Produced by the world's most experienced builder of cars and trucks, Ford Motor Company. And now, the second act of The Married Look, starring Paul Kelly and Lois Wilson and Betsy Blair.
Gas company sent me another letter this morning about the furnace. I've been fighting with them for 5 weeks, and their letters are getting more and more nasty. August the 2nd, August the 12th, August the 29th, September the 8th.
For my part, they can take the darn furnace out. This laboratory is so hot most of the time, it keeps me awake, and I can't sleep.
Edward,
Oh, I'm sorry.
don't you feel well?
There's nothing wrong with me.
But you've been upset for so long now. It's not like you at all. Even Father has remarked about it.
I'm sorry if I have upset your father.
Well, he's not upset. He's concerned. We both are.
Oh, it's just the work hasn't been going well. I could understand it if I were a writer or an artist, but a scientist must be in command of himself, at least.
You take it all too seriously.
May I ask what else there is?
Please, Edward.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ruth. I really am. Please forgive me.
I brought in a letter from the gas company, and I seem to have precipitated a minor crisis. Edward, am I getting to be one of those wives?
I don't understand.
You know, one of those horrible creatures who has no horizons beyond the electric bill, the meat market, and the gas company.
I wouldn't have you one bit different.
You mean that?
I do. Now give me those letters and I'll write to the gas company again. I'll tell them they're very, very stupid people.
I'm afraid I've already called them.
Did you tell them they were stupid people?
Of course not. You know I didn't. We have to get along with them. They're a monopoly.
That's the worst reason I ever heard for being unpleasant.
Please, let me do it in my own way.
You're too mild with them. That's not the way to win.
One wins the best way one can.
Now you're being feminine.
Is there anything wrong with that?
A little more detached, dear.
Well, I can't very well be detached about these scorpions. Ugly brutes. I can't bear even to be in the same room with them.
Oh, hello, Freddie.
You're sure it's all right for me to come in?
Why not?
My daughter and you seem pretty edgy these days. I hope there's nothing wrong.
No, don't be silly.
You haven't got a little drop of something hidden around here, have you?
I think I have.
Hey, these things look pretty vicious.
Oh, you get used to them. Besides, after you work with them a while, you almost think that they're beautiful.
Poisonous, aren't they?
Very.
Can they kill you?
They ever got out?
Do they ever?
Once in a while, but it's all right if I see them first.
Gee, this whiskey's good. You know, I never get a chance to touch the stuff when the wife's around. And Ruth's just like her mother. You know, you're not allowed to, Father. It isn't good for you.
Oh, she means well. It's just that sometimes she doesn't understand.
Heaven deliver me from a woman who really understands me. Now, Ruth's mother, she's a wonderful woman, but sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't have stood up to her a little more. Do you ever get that feeling?
Freddie, you're thinking dangerous thoughts.
Oh, not at all. But sometimes when I look into my wife's face, I see a look in her eyes as though she were a young girl again. I don't know how to describe it. As though she was wondering what it would have been if it didn't turn out the way it did. If I'd been different. If we'd both been different. You know what I mean?
Go on.
I wouldn't handle those things for $1,000,000. You ever figure how things could be different, Ed?
What difference would it make?
Like when I was a whole lot younger. I had a chance to go into the oil business. I came out here and looked at what they call Signal Hill. Did you know that?
No, I never did.
Oh, you must have. Ruth must have told you. I had a chance to buy in at the time, but I let it go. If I had a little part of Signal Hill, I'd be one of the richest men in the country.
You could have lived in the most splendid circumstances.
What's that you're saying?
Never mind.
So instead, I'm in the contracting business. Oh, mind you, I do very well. I build a fine house and get a kick out of it, but somehow, I've always had a yearning to do something else.
Married man has very little choice. You know, hostages of fortune, all that sort of thing.
You know, women are strange. You never really get to know them. Why, sometimes when I look at Ruth, my own daughter, she seems a stranger to me. Not at all the way I thought she'd grow up to be. She's more practical somehow.
You think so?
I'll never forget the day she cut off her hair. I guess she wanted to be like Joe in that book, Little Women.
Father, how you go on? I loathe Joe. I cut off my hair because I didn't like the color. I always wanted to be a blonde.
Oh, you would have been awful looking as a blonde.
How do you know?
Well, just not the blonde type.
I could dye my hair green this very minute, and you'd never even notice it.
No. You stay here. Let me attend to this.
This is wonderful, being here with you again.
Oh, you sound as if you should be someplace else.
Maybe that's the kind of a person I am. Always a little guilty of the things I most enjoy.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. And we're together. What more do you want?
Nothing more than you ever, Clementine.
Oh, it's so good to hear you say so. It's so good to be here with you. Just the two of us, as if there were nobody else in the world.
Well, is there anyone else?
Only my father. He's gone up into the high Sierras looking for gold. He says there's too much oil. I expect we'll be rich someday.
Will you support me when you get all that money? I suppose you're full of splendid plans.
Oh, I want all sorts of things. Palaces, islands in the sea. I want to be in love always. I want a life full of romance.
That's a lot for one young woman.
Oh, that's only what every young woman wants, isn't it? I used to think I'd like to be a nun. Give up the world and all its worries. Always be cool and calm. Well, I guess everybody thinks something like that sometime or other. And then you fall in love.
And then you fall in love.
And then who knows? Who knows what love will bring after all?
Must never be afraid of love, Clementine.
Why not? Aren't you?
I never thought of it that way.
I think you are. I'm going swimming.
She's a pretty young thing. You should be proud of her.
I am. I'm very proud.
You two, husband and wife?
Well, I
guess not. You look too happy together. I really knew you weren't married the minute I clapped eyes on you.
How did you know?
You just don't have that look.
What look?
The married look. You take one look at him, and then you look at me, and you'll see what I mean.
I don't know.
But you were talking to her.
She said we didn't look married.
Well, we are.
But if we were, Clementine, do you think we would ever look it?
Oh, I don't see anything wrong with looking married if you are.
Oh, you don't want to know what I mean.
Oh, I think I do. You mean, if we were married, we should always look as if we were standing on the beach in the sunlight, with the waves dancing in the distance, and me kissing you, like this. So that you'd never get the taste of the salt off your lips.
That's it, exactly.
Oh, if that's it, Edward, I always want to look married.
Forever wilt thou love, and she be fair.
I didn't know you liked poetry, Edward.
I never knew it myself until this minute. I never knew what love, that it could be like this. That there could be a girl like you.
But I've been waiting for you, always.
And I, for you.
Come on, Edward. Let's go catch the lightning.
But aren't you afraid of it?
Afraid of a little lightning? No, it's beautiful, beautiful. Come on.
Clementine! Clementine! Clementine!
Oh, Freddie, Ruthie's all right now. You just gave her a little turn.
What do you mean?
You know, that joke about the blonde hair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gee, that storm sure came up suddenly, didn't it? Hardly got upstairs when the rain stopped. Well, that's California for you. Plenty of everything, including weather. You coming up to talk to Ruth?
In a minute. Oh, Clementine, why did you leave me? Come back. Come back. It's no good without you. It never will be again. Feeling better?
I guess so.
I never knew you to be upset by a storm.
In your eyes, I suppose I'm the Iron Woman.
Well, you must admit that this behavior is certainly unlike you.
Is that meant as a reproach?
Lad, I've never been sick in this room.
For heaven's sake, why?
I'd have started counting the roses on the wallpaper. I might have gone mad.
Edward.
Oh, I know. I sound like a complete good for nothing. The whole time I've been talking to you, I've been listening to myself, too, and I don't like what I hear. I've been irritable, moody, impossible to live with. The first time in your life I've driven you to utter bewilderment and helplessness. If you ask me why, I have to say I don't know. I just don't know.
I wouldn't mind so much if you were alone. But why do you have to do it in front of Father?
It's hardly my purpose to upset your father.
He feels terrible. He asked me if I wanted to come home.
No, he didn't.
He wants me to be happy.
Does he think that happiness in marriage is the same feeling you had when he gave you your first bicycle?
You've never been cruel before.
I've never been honest before. Sometimes the two things are the same.
I was always a good daughter, I thought. I even believed I was a good wife. Now, I wonder where that leaves me as a human being.
You're a wonderful human being.
But maybe not the right one for you.
What are you saying?
I've had a lot of time to think these past few weeks, especially when you've been down in the laboratory working. What is it you see in that microscope, Edward? Why is it I can only see ugly, dark little specks, while you seem to be gazing into an enchanted world?
What makes you say that?
But that's true, isn't it? I'm shut out for most of your life. The minute you work, I'm left outside.
That's not my doing.
Of course not, but how did it come about? I always thought I could be of help to you in intellectual ways.
What?
Then I became so engrossed in keeping you comfortable, making a good life for you. And so I thought.
But you have made a good life for me. I wouldn't want any other.
Wouldn't you, Edward?
Certainly not.
But maybe you'd like to try.
What are you saying?
Maybe you'd like to go away.
Leave you? Just what have you in mind?
I think maybe you're a little tired of me. For the time being, at least. The carriage roses on the wallpaper. The warm milk before bedtime. The argument we had about the traffic ticket last week. They're all small things in themselves. But for you, they seem to add up to deep unhappiness.
Oh, it's not that. It's not that at all.
If you went away for a little while now, it might be better.
Where could I go?
To Stanford, maybe, to see Whittier.
That's ridiculous.
But if you stay here, you'll only be making yourself more miserable.
But I've never been any place without you.
If you go, you might be glad to come back. If you don't go,
What then?
you might not be able to stand.
I really believe you want me to go. You can't stand having me around.
That simply isn't true.
So it's happened to us at last. We've always felt so superior when we've seen our friends quarrelsome and bored with each other.
Must happen to all married people sooner or later. We lose something.
But there must be some way of getting it back.
Perhaps not. You just pray that something else comes to take its place.
What place?
The place of whatever it is we've lost.
I'm in time.
Aren't you glad to see me?
Yes, but here.
I'm not here.
Well, it's just odd that you should just appear in my laboratory. Just appear.
Oh, why odd? Isn't this where I belong?
Well, what about Toto and the little red wagon and your father?
Oh, they don't matter anymore.
I don't understand.
Time past and time future. What might have been, what has been, points to one end which is always present.
What are you saying?
Oh, you see? I can quote poetry, too.
It's irrelevant at the moment.
Time past and time's future allow but a little consciousness. Oh, to be conscious is not to be in time, but only in time, in the moment in the rose garden, the moment in the arbor where the rain beats, the moment in the drafty church at Smokefall. Be remembered, involved with past and future. Only through time. Time is conquered.
My mind has hardly been on arbors and rose gardens.
Oh, but it should be, Edward. It must always be.
Just what do you think life is really like anyway?
Oh, a glorious adventure. Mountain climbing in the Alps. Swimming in a warm sea near a dark Italian island. The lights of a restaurant reflected in a glass of golden wine.
It's roses on wallpaper. Traffic tickets and a fight with the gas company. That's what life really is.
Edward, you can't believe that.
I know it.
Oh, but I know differently. Oh, that's why I had to come to you.
To me.
To you, Edward. And I shall never leave you again. Now I know the answers. I won't leave you to look for violets which aren't there. If the storm comes up at the beach, I'll always be by your side.
You make it sound very real.
But of course, it is real.
And you?
Oh, Edward, I can be of such a great help to you. In your work, for instance. Edward, what are these beautiful things?
Scorpions.
Oh, I've never seen any before. Give me one in my hand.
I can't. They're poison.
Oh, I don't believe it.
Well, that's because you're so young. You don't think anything can harm you.
Well, nothing can.
You can't go through life defenseless.
Well, who said I was defenseless?
Everybody's defenseless when they're young. By the time they acquire the defenses, it doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, Edward, that sounds very cynical.
Why not?
This is also different from how I thought it was going to be.
And what did you expect?
Oh, something very simple, very beautiful. I thought, I love Edward. He loves me. And now we'll be together always. There's nothing ahead for both of us but happiness. And I shall feel all the time like I did when Father gave me my bicycle.
And how was that?
Oh, it was indescribable. And I thought I must always feel like this. And with you, I do.
But happiness isn't like that.
Isn't it? So what, then?
Much quiet. Glass of warm milk and a sandwich at bedtime. A joke shared. A trip remembered.
Never.
But that's the way it is.
I'm sorry I came. I look forward to it so eagerly, too. Being here where you work and seeing you here. Edward, don't you love me?
I think I love you very much.
Then why is everything so different?
I'm not sure myself, but it is.
When we fried the eggs that day. In the storm at the beach. You looked at me so differently. As if you couldn't bear to have me out of your sight for one moment.
I couldn't.
And you don't love me and never did. I made this all up.
But I do love you. A way I could never love anyone else. But that kind of happiness can't last, Clementine.
Oh, but why not?
Because if it did, most of us could not bear it. I know I couldn't. Love, after a while, has to be taken for granted. At least I think it does. Picture me working here hours at a time. And then see me coming to you, always young, always ardent, always beautiful. I couldn't sustain the pitch. I'm not an artist who can pour out his soul, exhaust himself, and then do it all over again. I'm a very prosaic man with little imagination or daring. The mountain peak is not for me.
Oh, but you said that
I
you would
said
always...
a great many things. And I meant them all.
Oh, come with me. I'll prove to you that you're wrong. With me, you can do anything.
Wherever you go, my dear, my heart goes with you. It's just that the rest of me is too tired to follow.
And I thought you were my perfect love.
Night on a white horse?
On the night on a white horse. The handsome actor on the stage, the gallant soldier in the thick of battle.
No man can be all those
But
things.
you must have been.
You'll forget me.
I don't want to. I refuse to see you dwindle into a human being.
I must. We all must.
And let it be on your conscience. You let love die without lifting a hand to save it.
Wasn't my fault.
But it is. It's every man's fault when he forgets the face of his young love. The years will go by, you'll forget what I look like. Well, that'll be your tragedy. Not mine.
You shouldn't be down here. I thought you'd get some sleep.
In a few minutes you've been down here, I could hardly fall asleep. Besides, I thought you might be hungry.
Glass of milk and a sandwich.
Did you want something else?
I wonder how many glasses of milk you've brought in here during these years.
I can't count.
Some total must be impressive.
There's nothing very impressive about bringing one's husband a glass of milk and a sandwich when he gets hungry.
Have I ever thanked you?
You've hardly even noticed when I've come into the room. Edward.
What? Ruth! Did he sting you?
I think so.
How could I have been so careless?
I think it's beginning to swell.
Let me see.
I'll be all right.
No, you just sit down, Ruth.
Is it bad?
I don't know.
Oh, don't take it so hard. I'll be fine. Did I kill it?
Yes.
Oh, I hope it wasn't an important one.
Now, please, darling, you just sit quietly. I'm going to call the doctor. Just sit quietly, and I'll get your father.
Oh, please don't, Edward. You'll only scare him.
Can't you think of yourself once in a while? Must you always be concerned with others?
It's such a habit now.
I'm going to telephone the doctor.
Watch out, Edward. You're going through a red light. You'll get a ticket. Don't argue with the policeman.
Why don't you try and get some sleep?
How can I, when she's like this?
It's just delirium. She'll be all right. I give you my word. The doctor told me.
It's all my fault. I hadn't left that cage open.
Now, Edward, you mustn't blame yourself like this.
I blame myself for everything. I've been a careless fool.
She's a very strong girl, never afraid of a thing. Why, I remember one day at the seashore, a thunderstorm came up. Everyone left the beach. Not my Ruthie. She went in swimming.
I didn't know she liked the ocean.
She loved it. Maybe she thought you didn't like it.
Why didn't she say so?
Well, I guess after a while, married folks don't talk about the things that really matter.
Try to remember how it was, Edward. Always remember how it was with us. So romantic.
What's she trying to tell me?
I really think you both better go downstairs. She might quiet down.
Can't I wait here? I want to be near her.
We'd better go. We're not doing one bit of good here. Besides, I need a drink.
You'll call us if she wakes up.
Of course.
Why did you bring me down here? I can hardly bear to come into this room. She might have been killed.
The doctor says she'll be all right.
What's the matter with you? Aren't you nervous?
I was, but I'm not now. After you've seen a family through all sorts of illnesses, you learn that stuff's too much.
You think Ruth minds we never had children?
What a question to ask me. Why don't you ask Ruth?
A man can't ask his wife a question like that.
No, I suppose not. But to tell you the truth, I don't think she does mind.
No?
No. I imagine you are all the children she could ever want.
But I've hardly been
Oh,
enough
for her you have. You know, some women just naturally give all they have to their husbands.
Now, what do husbands give back?
Well, they're husbands, aren't they?
Doesn't seem fair somehow.
I wouldn't know. But I think if you ask Ruth, she'd say she did pretty well for herself.
After what's been going on in this house?
Oh, you mean those spats you've been having? They don't mean a thing.
But you asked her if she didn't want to come home for a while.
Well, I thought it would be fun to go back to being a daughter for a while. You know, sometimes it is fun going back to being a daughter after having been a wife so long.
You're awfully philosophical tonight, Freddie.
Well, it's a good night for it. Good night for drinking, too. May I have another?
Certainly. She was terribly brave about that scorpion. And she's always loathed them so.
Well, that must have come on her later. When she was a kid, she liked any kind of an animal, down to ants and beetles. Why, I remember one little dog. Did she like dogs? Loved them.
I remember now. Long time ago, she said she would like a dog, and I said I was afraid it would mess up my lab. She never asked again.
Yes. Yes, I remember now. That little white poodle of hers used to roll in the dirt until he was coal black. I think she called him Toto.
What did you say?
Toto. That was his name. Not very startling.
So she had a dog named Toto.
I remember one time when Ruth and another little girl packed some things in a handkerchief and went off down the road to look for a gold mine.
In a canyon, in a cavern, excavating for a mine.
Does she still sing that? That was her favorite song when she was a little girl.
No, she's never sung it to me.
What a pretty thing she was. With her bright hair in the sunlight and her laughter. She's not a bad-looking woman today. Oh, but don't you remember, Edward, how she looked that day the both of you came to me and told me you were going to be married?
The day we got engaged?
I remember it as though it were yesterday. Ruth had you by the hand. You were trying to be bashful, you know, and she was laughing. And she told me that you weren't going to be like other married people. You were going to climb mountains together and live in a wagon on the edge of the woods.
She said that?
Oh, I don't blame you for not recollecting all that foolishness.
Wasn't foolish at all. Was very sweet.
Oh, she was a sweet little thing.
Stop talking about her as if she were dead.
Maybe that girl is dead.
What do you mean?
Well, after all, you wouldn't want her to go around now with little bows on her shoes talking about climbing mountains.
It would be wonderful.
You never could live up to it. No man could. You can't be a dream hero all your life.
I could try.
Oh, nonsense. What you want is a woman who'll make you take your umbrella when it looks like rain.
Didn't she have her hair washed that day we came to you? Wasn't it like wheat? And her eyes. Never seen anything like her eyes.
Yes, Edward. That's the way it was.
And her skin like apricot. I see her now, just as plainly as if it were only yesterday.
Your wife is awake now. The fever is quite gone. She'd like very much to see you. I'm all right now, Edward. Honestly, I am.
And it's a good thing, too, because I planned on sending out everything in the house to be cleaned.
It's a good idea. Then we can go away.
Go away. Just when I'm having spring cleaning. Don't talk nonsense.
We could go south. You could lie on the beaches.
But you don't like the beach.
I never did.
I distinctly remember.
Or maybe you'd like the mountains. I can't promise you the Alps or the Himalayas.
Must I get bitten by a scorpion every day?
What do you mean?
To bring back my ardent, my wonderful Edward.
The scorpion had nothing to do with it.
What was it?
That I can never tell you.
I've been saving this to give you as a farewell present. But I guess now is just as good a time as any.
Oh, Father, how sweet of you. Everyone is being so good to me.
Oh, darling, please.
Now, look, please don't feel like this. I know sometimes I've been awfully hard to take.
You're glorious women, both of you. Your mother and yourself.
Open the package for me. Oh, Edward.
Whatever in the world is that?
Oh, how wonderful.
Well, what is it?
It used to be my favorite toy. I played with it for hours on end in the attic. It's only a toy wagon. But for me, it was the very gateway to romance. I used to dream of living there all alone, with only Toto for company, while Father went prospecting for a mine.
I know.
You know. I never told you.
There are so many things about you that you've never told me that I know and love.
Would you like to have it, Edward?
More than anything else in the world.
And our cast, Ted Jacques, who played the role of Mr. Thompson. Neville Westman, who played Mrs. Thompson. Kay Loring as the nurse. Morton L. Stevens, who played Ruth's father. Betsy Blair, our Clementine. Lois Wilson, who was seen as Ruth. And Paul Kelly, who played the part of Edward. Mr. Kelly will soon be seen on Broadway, starring in the Clifford Odets play, The Country Girl, opening early in November. Laboratory equipment for tonight's performance was furnished through the courtesy of Harry Wells, Physician Supplies. Remember, 2 weeks from tonight, the Ford Theater will bring you the television premiere of a play based on Nathaniel Hawthorne's engrossing psychological novel, The Marble Fawn. Next week, at this same time, over many of these same stations, tune in the Magnavox Theater production of In the Fog, a dramatization of an exciting Richard Harding Davis mystery. And for sparkling comedy and good music, may we also remind you of another Ford show. Tune in the Jack Haley Show, presented each week by the Ford Dealers of America. You'll find time and station details in your local newspaper. The Ford Theater is brought to you by Ford Motor Company, builders of Ford, Mercury, and Lincoln cars, Ford trucks, and farm tractors. For top variety, watch Ed Sullivan's Toast of the Town on CBS TV, sponsored by your Lincoln Mercury dealers. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.